Hello, everyone. My name is Ashley Kirkwood. I run a company called Speak Your Way to Cash, and we help speakers, experts, entrepreneurs, and authors land large speaking contracts and licensing deals. And one of the things that we absolutely love to do is to help our clients win. And so today in the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group, I asked if you're not in the free Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group, then go ahead and join the Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group. And one of the things that I asked them was what's the number one thing standing between you and your next big business milestone? Let's talk obstacles and let's talk strategies. Okay. So I asked them that straight up off the bat. And one of the comments that I saw really provoked this live video. And so the name of this live video, you guys, is Don't Quit Your Job. Do this instead. Do this instead. And some of these strategies are going to be incredible, even if you have a job, even if you don't. But I'm going to share three skills or four skills that I want you to evaluate before you quit your job. And these are going to be the same skills that you should be evaluating if you have a business. So thank you all so much for joining. I appreciate you guys. And if you do not know this too, tomorrow, you guys, tomorrow is the Black Service-Based Business Summit. You have to attend. Make sure you get your ticket. It's totally free to attend, so don't miss out. But let's get into this. And if you have a full-time job, go ahead and comment full-time in the comments. If you do not have a full-time job, go ahead and say entrepreneur in the comments, like full-time entrepreneur, okay? These strategies are going to be integral. And if you have a friend who has a full-time job, if you have a sister who has a full-time job, if you have anyone who has a full-time job who is simultaneously running their business, share this video with them, because this is going to help them to catapult their business and not mess up in the process. These are going to be strategies and tips that I wish I would have paid attention to earlier on. Okay. Now, all my full-time entrepreneurs, y'all are going to get some nuggets too, because I don't know no other way to do it, but let's get into it. Okay. Number one, we did a study called the Black Thought Leadership Study, and that's the foundation of the Black Service-Based Business Summit that we're doing tomorrow. In this study, what we found is that 50% of our audience, 50% of our audience still has a full-time job. Okay. Now, here's the other thing that we found. 50% of respondents, the vast majority are not generating the revenue they could be generating in their full-time job. Now, let's check this out. Let's check this out. I want to actually share with you guys the results of this survey because I feel like it's going to be very integral. And for anyone that sells to small businesses, I think that you should know how many of your audience actually has a job. Or you can look at our thought leadership study and I can actually share the results with you of the study. When you register for the summit, you'll actually get the results of the study. Okay, let's get into it. This is going to be good. If y'all want the data, drop data in the comments. Drop data in the comments, because let me tell you what's going on out here in these streets is that people are feeling like, okay, I want to be my own boss. I'm tired of working for somebody else. I don't really want to do it anymore. It's annoying to me. I don't like it, blah, 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 blah. Check this out, though. Check this out. Not only do 50% work in a full-time job, right? But here's the other thing. This is critical. 20% make less than $50,000 at their full-time job. I'm going to tell you why this is important in a minute. 25%, only 25% are making between $50,000 and $100,000 at their full-time job. And only 13% are making $100,000 to $200,000 at their full-time job. Just 13%. 1% are making over $200,000 at their full-time job. 1%. Now, what does that tell me? Let me tell you why this is critical. Before you leave your job, okay? Think of Auntie Ashley in your head, because I'm about to get you guys together on this thing here. The reason, one of the core things, let me see if y'all can guess it. What does every entrepreneur want to do as their first revenue milestone? Put it in the comments. Put it in the comments. What does every entrepreneur compare their financial success to when they first become a business owner? I'm going to see if y'all can guess it, because I remember it clearly. The first time I made money in my business, the only revenue marker I could compare my business finances to was what? Come on, somebody. Where are you at? My James sold to new. make their annual salary. Every entrepreneur thinks about this. And they're like, okay, I just have to make my annual salary. Yes, thank you, Coach Laura. I just have to make my annual salary. If I just make my annual salary in my business, then I'm good. Do you want to know why I believe a lot of Black businesses are not making the money they need to make? Because they never learned how to make money on their day job. Hello? Because that sets your standard. My day job salary when I left was $300,000 plus. So my first revenue marker for my business, I wasn't doing nothing until I hit 300. Because until I hit 300, I wasn't even doing as well as I was doing in my day job. And then you start to realize that in your business, unlike in your day job, you have expenses. So making $300,000 in my business meant I made way less than I made in my day job, even with taxes, you guys. So why am I am so passionate about y'all not leaving your day jobs until you have figured out how to generate sufficient money in your day job. Your job is a reflection of the value, the pay you get is typically a reflection of the value you bring to that organization. So I'm going to give you guys 4 shifts. If we can have real talk, I know it's not late night like last night, but if we can have real talk this morning, drop real in the comments because I'm going to help some people out. Number one, before you quit your job, you need to do these 4 things. Number one, you need to evaluate your sales skills. A job interview is nothing more than a sales presentation. And so if within that sales presentation, your job interview, you aren't able to convey your value, then why do you think that you should leave that job and start your own business where it will likely be difficult for you to convey your value there? Come on. Can we be honest? So what I want you to evaluate before you leave your day job is your sales skills. I need you to evaluate your sales skills. I need you to evaluate the way that you communicate value in a job interview. Why? Because if you can do this at your day job, it's safe. It's safe. Your job is going to pay you every 2 weeks or every month, however their pay cycle is. They are going to pay you regardless of if you are exceptional or regardless of if you are lazy. It's the law. We don't have a choice as employers. So either way, we're paying. But the way entrepreneurship is set up, if you are not skilled, you may not get paid. And even if you are skilled as an entrepreneur, you may not get paid. There's no law that says the market has to give you the money you demand. And setting your prices is very different than actually getting that price from a customer. So I want you to evaluate your sales skills. And if you have a full-time job, anyone have a full-time job, drop job in the comments. Ain't no shame here. I think it's amazing. I think it's your first investor. You want to evaluate your sales skills. Every day you go into work, you want to get better at communicating your value. You want to get more persuasive. You want to be more influential at work. You want to utilize that job to show that you can develop sales skills, that you can develop influence, that you can develop consensus, meaning you can get a group of people to believe in an idea such that you all bring that idea to life. You want to get better at selling when there's no risk. When there is no risk, you want to get better at that skill. Okay, that's number one. Second thing I want you to evaluate, I want you to evaluate your growth skills. If you go into a job, you need to be able to show how you made that company better quantifiably before you left. Now, why? Because I know some of y'all are already thinking, okay, well, Ashley, I don't like this job. I don't like these people. My boss is racist. Blah, 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 blah. You become a better you for you. You don't become a better you for them. You become a better you because that's who you are. And that skill set of figuring out how can I go into this organization, particularly one that I don't like, and make it better is just character development. It doesn't mean that that they deserve it. It doesn't mean that they need it. It's character development. It's a skill that you can develop. And it's a story that you can tell once you leave full-time and you're running your own business. And it will give you more things to do. One of the things I didn't like about my day job, just being 100% honest with you guys, is that I get bored easy. So me doing this one thing every day, I was like, I don't really want to do this one thing every day. So I would take on extra projects. I would I would propose different initiatives. I would think of all these ways to make the company better. And I would go to my boss. And sometimes when my boss didn't listen, I would go to my boss's boss. And I would do these initiatives. And I cared a lot about diversity. I've always cared about Black folks. So for me, my initiatives were typically diversity related. Who I am did not start when I became my own boss. Who I am was evident while I was at my job. And so if you are at your job and you're not doing everything you can, you're not selling, you're not growth oriented, you are going to become your own boss, and you're not going to be selling, and you're not going to be growth oriented. I also believe in this concept of seed. Here's how it works. Because I've always cared about outcomes, I would do my best work at work so I could get the best outcome. So I wanted to do good work for clients all the time. When I became an entrepreneur, that held. So when you're at your job, the way you act is not in response to how they treat you. The way you act is in response to who you are, which is why, let me bring it home, make it real simple. If you see somebody out in these streets treating their spouse bad, I don't think to myself, oh, their wife must not be doing a good job, or her husband must not be doing a good job. I think to myself, that person has bad character. It don't got nothing to do with the other person. If you cheat, if you lie, if you steal, that's on you. That's not on your environment and your circumstances. Because I guarantee you there's people in worse circumstances that held their character and did better work. So boom, that's what it is. So you want to evaluate your growth skills. You want to go into that company and you want to make them so incredibly successful, not because of how they treat you, but because that's who you are as a person. And that is going to give you the skill set of moving a huge company forward. And if you can move a big company's mission forward, it's that much easier to move your company's mission forward. We're going to get into some other stuff too. Then I want you to evaluate your research skills. Get your pens and paper out if you have a job, because this is about to go deep. And I want you guys to do this for real, because I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have spoken to the head of every department at every company I worked for. I talked to a lot of the leaders at my old companies, but I wish I would have developed deep mentorship-like relationships with the heads of every company to understand what they worry about, to understand how they are moving this organization forward, to understand what numbers they look at, to understand projections. Why? Because every single one of you watching this live stream has the capacity to grow a big business. And if that's the case, you want to learn how these larger organizations are running. The other thing is, I don't think everyone has to be an entrepreneur or should be an entrepreneur, frankly. But if you desire full-time entrepreneurship, I want you to win where you're at so that your entrepreneurial journey is enhanced by where you're at. My dad used to always tell me whenever I would complain about work and come home, and I'm not going to act like I didn't complain about work, y'all. It is what it is. But I would come home and I would try to complain about work to my dad, and my dad would be like, let them people pay you to learn. What are you mad about? They're paying you how much money to learn? Why aren't you learning more? Why aren't you asking more questions? Why aren't you being the best person that you could be? You need to go in there and be the rock star. You need to go in there and be a standout. You need to go in there and be invaluable. You need to go in there and make moves and make waves. And it's important that you develop that skill of doing that, because that is the skill of standing out. And in entrepreneurship, you're going to need the skill of standing out. So you need to stand out on your day job. You need to understand the science behind getting people to actually like you, even people that maybe you don't like. Okay? Like, can we be 100% honest? That is a skill set, winning friends and influencing people. That is a skill set, making people feel seen and heard. These are skill sets that you're going to need as an entrepreneur. So I want you to evaluate your growth skills. I want you to evaluate your research skills. Now, research skills has 3 parts. Number 1, I want you to know how every single department in your company runs. And I want you to think through ways that you can super serve each and every department and make impact. Maybe there's a way for you to do it. Maybe there's a way that you can't do it, but there's probably one department that you could just crush that's like totally neglected. Shout out to Lael. She's one of our team members. Lael was one of my team members. I have a great team. Shout out to Team Speak Your Way to Cash. She was like, hey, I realized our Shopify store wasn't updated. I went ahead and updated it. I got some things done. I didn't even know it wasn't updated. Okay. Like, she just handled it. That's a way to super serve a department. Okay. So then you got that. Then you have, I want you to do this. Most larger companies, if you work for a large company, drop large, meaning the company has over 1,000 employees. If you work for a medium-sized company, 100 to 1,000 employees, drop medium. And if you work for a smaller company, under 100 employees, drop small. Most large companies have a marketing department. And within that marketing department, one of the things I discovered that marketing departments do is they like to have They like to pitch news stories that feature people who work in the company. So what I would do is I would go and look up, where are they featuring all the executives? What lists are they applying for? And then I would submit my own name for those lists, y'all. And they wouldn't typically want to submit me for those lists because I was a newer employee. I was only there, I don't know, I was like junior. I was less than 5 years. And but what had happened was once I would submit myself and actually be in the running, the company would have no choice but to get behind it because it's positive press. How can you build your brand? I did this while working full time, y'all. So I'm telling you things that I did while working full time, because a lot of people look at like, dang, she came into entrepreneurship, she's crushing it, she makes millions of dollars. That's wild. Nah, that's work, and that's strategic, because even on my day job, I knew that company was going to help me to be excellent. Another thing that I want you to consider, this is, I'm gonna just say it. If you are not working for people with high standards, then you are not working at your highest potential. You need to work for the difficult boss. You need to work for someone who has high standards. You need to work for someone who's not going to coddle you. As an entrepreneur, the best thing that ever happened to me was having a difficult boss. And I don't even know if difficult is the right word. I mean, my bosses had standards, high standards. I was in a meeting with a partner one time, and I had a mistake on a brief, and it was like a 50-page brief. And he was like, hey, this comma is out of place. And I was like, okay, I'm totally going to fix it. I'm so sorry. And he looked at me and was like, perfection is attainable here. I was like, what? Because I feel like he could see in my face that what I was thinking in my mind, which came out on my face, which I didn't mean for it to come out on my face, but in my mind, what I was thinking was, it's a comma, bro. And he was like, no. Here, perfection is attainable. Perfection is attainable here. Okay? And that shifted my mindset, because it went from, man, this guy is so hard to work for, to, dang, he thinks I can be perfect. And some of you are mad at people who are holding you to a standard because you think they're being hard on you. You don't realize they see brilliance in you. So now you're talking about them, you're mad at them, you're going home complaining about them to your family, instead of being grateful to God that someone saw so much greatness in you that they actually believed you could be perfect. Ain't no genius wasting their time on somebody they think is an idiot. Let's be clear. Sorry for the harsh language, but let's be real. I'm not telling you to pitch and sell and all of this because I genuinely believe you're going to fail at every turn. The only reason I will invest time even speaking to people and trying to lift them up is when I genuinely see greater in them than their actions are showing me. And now, as an employer, as a boss, as someone who has to lead others, I realize that I'm not trying to be hard or mean or difficult to my team members. I just see that they can be perfect. I see that they can achieve excellence. I see that they can do better, more, and greater than maybe they even know they can do in themselves. And so I'm going to give them the feedback to help them to do that. Now, if I didn't see it, I wouldn't waste my time hiring it, right? I wouldn't waste my time hiring those traits, because I'm not in the business of hiring people who I don't think can be excellent. The reason I'm not in the business of hiring people who I don't think can be excellent is because I worked at companies that always required excellence. Okay? And so if you are at a job right now and you're never getting feedback, then that means that, you're not somewhere either. There's two reasons for that. One, you have shown that you hate being pulled up. So you have exhibited in the way that you take feedback that you don't desire feedback. That's what you've exhibited. Or you work at a place where people genuinely just don't care about pulling you up. But if someone's telling you, hey, this is wrong, you need to do that differently. Hey, you need to fix that. Hey, next time you do that, do this. Hey, this is how it looks. Hey, I want to get this together. Hey, here's a Loom video on how. That means they want you to be better. Successful people are not in the business of wasting their time at any account. Okay? And so if they're telling you that, it's so that you can get better. So I want you to evaluate your departments. The departments in your company, I want you to develop relationships with the leaders. I want you to have meetings with the leaders. I want you to ask for meetings. Now, there's some of you who are like, oh, but the CEO, why would he meet with me? Why would I pitch the operations director? Let me be very clear and say it like I feel it. If you can't pitch someone who's literally paying you to be there, then why would you think you'd have the confidence or the gall to pitch people who don't know who you are when you have your own business and you're pitching for large clients? You need to develop getting over that fear of asking people for things when there's literally no risk. That's your CEO. That's the visionary of your company. That's the director of operations at your company. Yes, there's managers and all them other people in between. But if you want to have a meeting with your CEO, you should be able to send an email to do so. When I worked, I always went to I was like, hey, who are the highest grossing partners at the firm? These people are making tens of millions of dollars. And I would walk in their office. Hey, is now a good time? I'm a new associate. I've been here a day. I want to meet you. I hear you are great. I want to be great. I need to work with greatness to be great. At my day job, that was the MO. Why was that? I was comfortable doing that. They told me I was the only, some of the partners were like, you're the only associate or summer associate or intern who's ever walked in my office and just asked for investment advice and asked for business advice. But I was developing that skill set. Now, my parents helped to implant that on the inside of me. And some of you are like, but Ashley, I don't have parents to do that. But guess what? You have me to tell you to do that now. But guess what? You're hearing this information so you can do that now. Confidence is built on competence, and that's only built in action. So you're not hearing this for no reason. You're not hearing this just because, you just happen to open the email that I sent out. You're hearing this because it's for you to grow. And consider this. If you build your confidence when you have children, you will know how to build theirs. When you build your confidence and it is deep and it has roots and you are not scared of other mere mortals. These are human beings, not angels and gods. When you build your confidence, then you're going to be able to teach your children how to build their confidence, and you're going to be able to see insecurities in them, and you're going to be able to speak to them and speak to their insecurities and build faith and trust in them. But if you don't deal with your own, it's going to be difficult for you to see that in your children. And you're going to start saying things like, oh, she's just like mommy. Mommy was scared too. No. We don't need mommy scared. We don't need daddy scared. We need them bold. We need them sure. We need them comfortable in rooms with great men and women, kings and queens. I need you guys to go into your job like you own the place respectfully. I wasn't changing the mirrors and stuff, but I walked through the hallways as though they paid me to be there because they did. How many of you had to interview for a job? Drop interview. They probably chose you over somebody else. Every time we release a job opening, we get hundreds of applications. And our company is smaller. Hundreds of applications. Every single person I hired them over someone else who applied. What does that mean? It means they were chosen. They were selected. We were intentional about bringing them on. And if we're intentional at our revenue marker, for those of you who work for large companies, look at how intentional they are. They pay you to be at that place. So go get everything that they have for you within that organization. Secondarily, I want you all looking at your marketing department and getting some press while you're at your job. That is called building your personal brand. I want you posting on LinkedIn, building your personal brand. Bonus points. If you can build your personal brand in alignment with your career and your entrepreneurial journey. Biggest mistake I see entrepreneurs make. They have all this experience in one area. They start a business. They don't even want to talk about it because they don't like their job. They just throw all the experience away. I hated it there. But why did you hate it there? It's a mega corporation. Well, I didn't like my boss. Then get promoted. Get into another department. You know what I mean? Let's go. Let's be who we are always. Let's be who we are always. Because what I'm realizing is if let me go back to the numbers. What I'm realizing is if only 25% of Black entrepreneurs who completed this survey, if only 20% of us are making if about 19% of us are making under $50,000 in their salary, it's no wonder that the vast majority of entrepreneurs only make $26,000 in their business. The average income, gross receipts of a Black woman-owned business is $26,000. Why is that? Because if you make 50 grand in your day job and that's your goal, then you may hit 26,000. You may hit 26,000. And here's the other thing. I wonder, are you negotiating at that job? Are you going for jobs that pay more? Are you able to sell your skill sets? Do you have a skill set that is valuable in the marketplace? We have to quit acting like that's not a real thing. It is. You know what I listened to this morning, guys? I was listening to Dennis Kimbro. I'm getting ready for my opening keynote tomorrow. And I was listening to Dennis Kimbro. It was called his book called The Wealth Choice. I was listening to the book The Wealth Choice, and I was taking notes, and I was intently listening to it, and it's so good. And one of the things he said is that money is the greatest measurement of your own mindset. If you wish to know how average individuals feel about themselves, look at their bank account. Not only does water seek its own level, but so does money. Oh, I was like, oh my God. I think I listened to that line like 3 or 4 times. And then I started to think, ew, that's kind of harsh. And that seems kind of intense. Ooh, seems kind of rough. But then I started thinking about it and I was like, wait, but this makes sense. Because my initial goal was to make $300,000 in my business. And I did that in a year. Why? Because that was my goal. Why was that my goal? Because that was where I was at in my job. Why was I there in my job? Because that was what I negotiated in my job. And then I was like, but it makes so much sense because at one point I was making like 200,000 at my job. I met a friend of mine who told me, yo, Ashley, when you go to your next job, you can get a 6-figure signing bonus. And so when I went to my next job, I asked for a 6-figure signing bonus, and they didn't do 6 figures, but they did 60,000. But had I not changed my mindset that was something I could do, and I changed my mindset by getting around people who had more than me, who had more knowledge and expertise, and who would mentor me and coach me. Had I not done that, then my money would have matched my mindset. Because what you don't know is possible, you don't go for oftentimes. And every now and then people luck up into some things, but there still is an underlying belief system that allowed them to stand on that. Oof. That book, this book, Dennis Kimbro wrote. Now, I am incorporating many of the nuggets that I've gotten from this Dennis Kimbro book into my opening speech, State of Black Service-Based Businesses, my State of the Union address tomorrow. It starts at 9:30, doors open at 9 a.m. And I recommend you get there at 9 a.m. because our Zoom room can hold 1,000 people. We have 4,500 people registered. So, if you're in the Facebook group, you'll be able to stream it there. But if you want to get in the Zoom room where the magic is happening, then I recommend y'all come early. We're packing that thing all the way out. But think about that. Like, it's about your mindset. Then I want you to evaluate, how is your company innovating? How is your company innovating? How are they staying relevant? Are their numbers going up or down right now, and why? And when did they change CEOs, and why did they change CEOs? And what were the leadership traits of the best CEOs? And then go on Glassdoor and look at how are they evaluated and what are people saying about their leadership, and then ask about it. Hello? Ask about it. Let me tell you something. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions. So many times. I remember going to law school, and law school ain't really diverse, y'all. I don't know if y'all know about this, but law school is not diverse. My first law school, more diverse than my second law school, because my first law school was lower ranked than my second law school. Northwestern's a top 10 law school in the country. That's where I graduated from, cum laude, right? I had to get my grades up, get my life together. So I go to Northwestern, and I go to, my first law school was John Marshall. I go to John Marshall, and there's 60 people in a room, right? 60 people in a room. Imagine like classroom style, rows of chairs, rows of desks. And most of the people the room typically feels back to front. Most people want to sit in the back. I don't understand why, but whatever. Rosa Parks didn't do what she did for me to sit in the back. So I go straight to the front. I sit in the first row almost every class of law school. Why did I do that? Because in undergrad, y'all, I almost failed out of undergrad. I had a 2.1 GPA. But in law school, what I looked up was that if you don't get good grades in law school, you don't get a job that pays you well. So in my mind, that meant Ashley is now a straight A student. So from now on, I sit in the front with the straight A students, okay? So I go to the front of the classroom and I sit there, but on my way to the front of the classroom, I pass this girl, and this one girl is sitting like towards the back, and I see her on her computer and she's shopping, and she has like this little water cup flask thing. I learned later that in her water cup flask was actually liquor. It was actually liquor. And she's shopping. And the only thing I could think is like, why? You know what I mean? Like, what? Why is that what you're doing? And she's like, oh girl, sit next to me next time. I was like, I no. She's like, why you always gotta sit in the front? Because that's where I belong. Period. Now, that's probably exactly how I said it because I say it how I feel it. But one of the things that I realized is had I been scared to go to the front, take my rightful place, sit in the front, get what I need to get, I'd be sitting by somebody that's not only distracting me, but that smell like liquor in law school. I ain't have time for that. And some of you you're not sitting where you're supposed to be sitting. You're sitting in the back. Everywhere you go general. You never get the VIP ticket. You feel like you don't belong there. You don't even think about flying first or doing any type of luxury experience that feels in alignment with you because you're like, I can't afford that. I can't do that. But you've never even looked up the price. And if you don't even look up the price, then you're not even in the running. Here's the truth. Here's the truth. Many of you would be further along if you just sat by different people, if you just sat by people who were more serious. But those people are not waiting around to make sure everyone around them feels good. Another thing that Dennis Kimbro talks about in his book is in his study of 1,000 Black millionaires, 1,000 Black millionaires whose average net worth was $4 million. He said that he realized that they were willing to believe in ideals and believe in principles that would make them look foolish and be ridiculed by their friends. Here's the thing. If you are not strong enough to be disliked, then you are not ready for leadership. I'm not saying you need to make people dislike you or go out of your way to be disliked. But a part of leadership is being disliked. You're in the front. You know what I mean? Like you're taking up space. You're not hiding. You're doing what you have to do. And what if the skill set that you're learning on your job as how many of y'all are the only Black woman? Drop only in the comments. What if the skill set that you're learning on your job where your boss is just ridiculing you and picking at you every day is how to deal with conflict head on? What if what you're learning at your job where they are being racist and disrespectful and all the things is how to have difficult conversation? That's a leadership principle. What if what you're learning on your job is how to make people like you who've never even met anyone like you before? What if the skill set that you're learning on your job is how to build consensus amongst people who don't even value you solely because of the way you look? What if what you're learning are leadership principles that you have to learn and master in order to be an entrepreneur? Because if you think as an entrepreneur that your calling card is going to be, well, I'm just not going to work with nobody I don't like, then you are not ready for massive wealth and influence. Because that's not how it works over here either. Sure, you can turn down every client that rubs you the wrong way. Sure, you cannot collaborate with anyone in your industry. You could totally do the lone wolf thing. You could absolutely do that. But that would mean that you are more committed solely to how you feel in a particular moment than your mission. What if your mission requires you to work with some people that you don't necessarily vibe with? Then that consensus that you learned how to build on your day job is the very thing that will make you a standout entrepreneur. I can't tell you how grateful I am for working in the environments that I worked in because it taught me work ethic, discipline, and excellence. And there is a clear, stark difference between people who have had those types of experiences and mastered them there and those that always quit jobs that felt hard and difficult. Because those same people always quit programs that feel hard and difficult. Those same people always quit their offers when it feels hard and difficult. They won't do this. They don't want to run ads because people are going to talk bad about them in the comments. Y'all, they going to drag you in the comments the bigger you get. It's how it goes. It's how it goes. So what if that job is uniquely positioned in your destiny journey to give you the skill sets that you need to leave? And now you're trying to leave it prematurely without developing the skill sets that it was supposed to gift you. Right? That's all I'm saying. Then I want you to evaluate your relationship skills. I sure do. I want you to evaluate, do you have sponsors at that job? Do you have people who are speaking your name in rooms, who are giving you opportunities? Do you have friends at work? People that you can call, people that respect you and that enjoy being around you, that you enjoy being around. Have you cultivated those relationships? It's a skill. So much that we think is just about, how we look or how we do this or how we do that is actually skill-based. It's actually skill-based. What about that? What about that? So I want you to evaluate your relationship skills. Here's the other thing. I want you to save you some money. Save you some money. I wish I would have saved more money before I left my job. We saved about $60,000 before we left our job. I wish I would have saved more. But what that did was it gave me an ability to not start selling out of desperation. It gave me an ability to sell from a place of power and sustainability. And it allowed me to set realistic goals. If you have made $0 in your business last year, but your goal to make $20 million this year, no. I mean, no. What's the plan? Are you going to what's the plan? So here's what we do. Here's what we don't want to do. I don't want you to just commit to saying your goal. I want you to commit to the plan that is required to reach your goal. Because if you commit to the plan, then the goal is a byproduct of committing to the plan. There are a lot of people who have become experts in saying goals, but not experts in committing to the strategy that undergirds the goal. Committing to saying it, dropping it in the chat, I want to make 100 million, I want to make da-da-da-da-da. I mean, whatever. That's fine. That's great. But commit to the plan, because when you look at the plan, you look at the resources that you have, you look at the plan, you look at how you can quantum leap. When you commit to the plan, then you're like, okay, I'm going to commit to going live every day. Dream big, act small. Remember this, guys. Dream big, act small. And I'm not saying act small like act falsely humble. I don't do that, and I don't recommend that. What I'm saying is there are small actions that compound over time that will help you reach your big dream. And what a lot of people do is they look at their life and they're like, I haven't reached the big dream, but they don't look at their actions and say, it's because I'm not doing the small actions. It's because I'm not sending the email a day. It's because I'm not pitching consistently. It's because I'm not doing the work that has to be done in the dark in order for me to be rewarded in the light. It's that dark work that gets you rewarded in the light. And so I want you guys to commit to the small actions that make up the big dream. Dream big, act small. Commit to the plan. Commit to the plan. And here's the really tough part. Commit to the idea and the belief system. Adopt the belief system that you will achieve your goals even when it doesn't look like it. In your language. So evaluate your relationship skills, and I want you to save some money before you leave. And then I want you to be so exceptional and extraordinary at your job that if you do decide to leave, you have the option to pitch them a contract. Like, hey, I'm going to leave. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But I want to know if I could pitch you a contract, and I'll stay on as a 1099 for X amount of dollars a month and blah, 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 blah. Be so integral that you have the right to do that and that you can do that confidently and powerfully. Right? Like, that's what I want you guys to do. But I don't want you to quit your job. What I want you to do is do these things instead. And before you quit your job, instead of just up and quitting your job, what I want you to do is what we discussed. I want you to evaluate your sales skills, because if you are making under $50,000 in your day job, then I need you to get better at selling your expertise to your employer so that you can generate more revenue on your day job. 2, evaluate your growth skills. I want you to evaluate how you're able to help that company grow and quantify it. Then I want you to evaluate your research skills. You should meet the heads of every department at your company. You should be getting in the news and being featured by your company. You should look at their innovation track and see how they're being innovative and all of that. Then I want you to evaluate your relationship building skills. I don't want you going to work with a frown on your face. Go to work, build relationships, because those people will be able to refer you business when you leave. Then I want you to save 6 months of your expenses and max out all opportunities on your job. Contribute that money to the 401k, open the IRA, do all the things that you can do. Invest in stocks, look at your employee resource plan, look at your employee benefits. Some people don't even know they have employee benefits. Do you know I have an alumni benefit. One of the alumni benefits from one of the firms I worked at, which is why it pays, it pays to put in the work, baby. One of the firms I worked at gives us a lifetime access to a concierge. So literally, I haven't worked there in years, but I use that concierge almost every single month. They look up where I can eat. They make my spa reservations. They are exceptional. They research different venues where I can have my events in different states. They call and get quotes for me. I use my benefits. So you need to know, what benefits do you have? and then do so good at your job that you're able to pitch them for a contract if you ever do leave. Look, I did this live video, you guys, because I care about y'all. I want you guys to win and be successful. I want to make sure that you all are thinking through things like a leader and not just thinking through things with your feelings. I want us to get better at strategic thinking. Strategic thinking. Because if you're not maxing out your opportunities where you're at, then what makes you believe, like, you're not going to leave your job and go from Urkel to Stefan, and then all of a sudden you're like, now I'm a disciplined person. Now I work so hard. Now I da. No, that's who you are. And then that holds in entrepreneurship. Who you are holds. Who you are holds. So I want you guys thinking about, how can I be strategic about the investor that I have? And maybe that investor is your job. Another thing that I want to just plug, being number 2 or number 3 at an incredible company and having leadership responsibility and scaling and growing with that company and having a growth plan for your career at that company is an excellent thing to do. It's an excellent thing to do. I never want you all to think that I'm saying like, oh, I love my job. I love where I'm at. I should leave. I should be an entrepreneur. Maybe, maybe not. Now, 80% of Black millionaires, what they did to get wealthy, $4 million average net worth, was start a business. 20% did it with real estate. So that research is from 2009, but it does say that entrepreneurship is a path to wealth. However, if you are a highly skilled individual, your path to making millions of dollars doesn't have to start or end with entrepreneurship. You can do that by adding immense value to the company that you're at. Okay? It definitely can. Yes, shout out to you, other lawyers in the building. So hopefully you guys got some value from this. I really hope that you did. Please make sure you register for the Black Service-Based Business Summit and sit in the front, get a VIP ticket. Just sit in the front. I'm going to be calling on VIPs for questions throughout the summit, and we're going to do hot seats with those who are VIPs throughout the summit. That's who I'll be selecting for that. They have their own VIP background, so I'll be able to identify you guys and know where you're at. I'll be standing tomorrow. It'll be great. We're actually going to get the set ready right after this. I cannot wait. If y'all got value out of this, comment value, share it with all your friends who have a day job, literally every single one. Go down the line, just share it with all of them. I am incredibly blessed to do the work that I do at Speak Your Way to Cash. We're so excited about all of the entrepreneurs that we're hosting. We have 40. Let me see how many we have now. Registered. And I need y'all not to just register for show up. I think we can max out this Zoom room tomorrow at 1,000. But let me see how many people we have registered. And I want y'all to know this. Do you all know when you all get people registered for an event, 20 to 30% actually show up? We have 4,300 people registered. 4,397 people have already registered for the Black Service-Based Business Summit. Our goal is that we cap out our Zoom room. Our Zoom room can fit 1,000 people. Everyone else, if you cannot get in, you can watch it, stream it. We're going to stream it live in the Speak Your Way to Cash free Facebook group. So make sure you're in the group. But here's what I want you to do. We open doors at 9 a.m. Right at 9 a.m., I want you to come to that Zoom room because it caps out at 1,000. Now, here's the thing. If you show up and you can't get in, I told you to come early. We're opening doors at 9 a.m. And at 9 a.m., instead of just opening doors, what we're going to do is we're going to play a training that we did with one of our clients who has now landed over $1 million in licensing deals. We're going to play a training with her. She's going to talk through how she did it, how she pitched it. That's at 9 a.m. total bonus session for those who come early. And so we just want to give you value on top of value, on top of value, on top of value, because this year we are going to help 1,000 businesses land their first $10,000 contract. In doing the survey that we did, I absolutely hated that less than 15% of the businesses surveyed had actually sold anything over $10,000. I don't like that for us. And I don't like that for you. And I know that we can change that with some strategic insight and the value that we're going to bring. So I will see you guys tomorrow at the Black Service-Based Business Summit. If you love this live, share it out, drop me a comment and let me know. And I'll see you guys there.